Hello guys, I'm gonna get ready to share the video really quick while we are here getting everybody live joined in. I know a few people watching the game and stuff like that. How about them Cowboys? In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and get the video shared on a few pages that I follow. Oh, see, no one has joined in just yet, so I'm going to use that time to go ahead and share that in a few groups while we're waiting on everyone to tap in. Thank you all who has been following me so far. You all have been great. I greatly appreciate you all. And almost okay. All right. So now that I have the page shared to everyone, I'm gonna say hey mom, hello everyone else who's followed, hey Mav and Mr. Legron. Today I'm gonna just be discussing, I call this show Intensity. I called it Intensity just due to the fact of the many things and the many slight topics that led me to this subject. This show, just like the last show I spoke on the benefits of solitude and all of the things that we needed to pretty much get ourselves at a better standpoint in life, because when it comes to focusing and things like that, focusing is actually an easy thing to do. However, we as people, as humanly flesh, we definitely make that harder for ourselves, and sometimes others around us does as well. And so with the intensity, the subject for today, we're going to also be dealing with the energy vampires, dealing with narcissism. We're also going to be dealing with soul ties and different levels of abuse. And when I speak of the different levels of abuse, I'm speaking of mentally, physically, emotionally, and verbally. And I myself personally, along with a lot of few other people that I know, have dealt with all of these topics. I know when I had made the event for the show, I did say that, if not only ourselves, but someone that we know has dealt with either one or a few of these things or all of these things as a whole. So kind of just want to go ahead and tap into that. And for the ones who have been following me, like I said, I want to thank you all for just following us from, the restart of Love Rehab up until now. Now, one thing that I can say that a common denominator trait for all of these, simply, I'm not going to say horrible, because sometimes with these things, they cause a lot of characteristics to show that God wants us to see. So I would just say the common denominator trait. I'm talking tongue twisted already. The show barely done started. I've been a little tired, not fully pouring into myself as I should, and I'm holding myself accountable. So I'm gonna make sure that not only am I only giving you all things to help you out, but I have to do that for myself as well. But some of the common denominators for these traits are going to be anxiety, depression, psychotic attacks, personality disorders, which would come from energy vampires and narcissism. But not also only these things. All of these things could very well be passed on from one generation to the next. And as I dig deeper into these topics, I'm going to, pretty much show you how all of these things are going to be able to, not only reveal itself, and we can of course relate for so many people, but also show you that how it needs to be stopped, and how these things, that these traits that that you've developed, or these traits that the person that you've dated or been around has developed, they have to be stopped. Because what I'm seeing a lot now is that these children are well impacted by so many people's thoughts, so many people's actions, so many people's everyday lifestyles. And so all of these things include those, such as energy vampires. I'll go ahead and start with that. I didn't know what an energy vampire was until I almost had to live with one. And dealing with those things, it was very hard. It was a lot of anxiety going on in this place. It was a lot of just weariness. It was a lot of like almost like living life on the eggshells and things of that nature. So what I noticed that within those traits, I've noticed that I had a lot of senses of irritability. I had a lot of sense of like being nauseated all the time, or sick to the stomach for whatever. And you're like, you're thinking you're feeling sick because of something that you ate, but it's literally because of something that like this energy is like pretty much sucking you all in. And also sometimes having a shortness of breath. So with these things, I've realized that I was dealing with someone who had the traits of an energy vampire. And so with that, I've kind of just studied that an energy vampire is pretty much emotionally unstable. An energy vampire is emotionally immature individuals who have a sense that the world is pretty much revolving around them. They lack empathy, and they see things only from their perspective. They don't see things from the other person's perspective. And I've really noticed that I work in corporate America, so I'm gonna relate everything, like also not only just based on relationships, but also situationships, like a day-to-day basis, such as going to work, such as having a friendship or a circle of friends. I always love rehab is a broad subject, because God is love. God is not only in a relationship; He's also everywhere around. So energy vampires, you can definitely have them in the workplace. In corporate America, I've seen it a lot more now, because the world is pretty much made off of like monetizing things. What the product is going to be, is it going to get sold, is it going to get out the way? A lot of people have taken away the fact of humanity and humanism. So when it comes to having some type of empathy on how that person is even, how they're feeling, or what's making them be at this level, they've taken that away so much. And it's like it really kind of almost give you a sense of you don't even want to be outside with people, because it's almost to the point where it's like everybody's energy is sucked, and everybody is almost becoming an energy vampire. It's almost like living like in the purge sometimes. And sometimes you can even have that same very thing with dealing with in a relationship. You can literally be laying with the devil. Sometimes if you're literally, waking up and you're feeling tired, or you're feeling groggy, and, you're trying to figure out where's all this energy, have gone, because you've got you a good night's rest or whatever, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you're up all night. So those are some of the traits that dealing with the energy vampire is all about. There's no sense of ease. Your vibe and your energy and your spirit is just all over the place. So dealing with those things is very hard to focus. Your focus can get shifted very easily just based on those things. So I think I just encourage everyone to protect your energy at all costs. And even tying back into the last show, benefits of solitude, that we were talking about, when you're in the midst of knowing yourself and who you are, you have to know that that energy is definitely going to have to be kept, at peace. Because for me, I've noticed that, I've said it in the show before too, I've noticed that my energy is very strong, and within like my thoughts, even just like by me being still, like if someone always wants to be around me, and I'm fine with that, because that just goes to show that I'm a comfortable person. Even my home is people want to come over here and relax and chill, and just kind of just unwind. But at the same time, what about my energy? I have to make sure I keep my home protected. I keep my my environment protected, because at the same time, when those people are pouring out into you, they're also, I'm not gonna say forgetting about you and where you're standing at emotionally right now, but I mean that still plays a factor. So I just like I said, encourage all of you all to keep your energy protected. And keeping your energy protected, you can also know how to deal with narcissism. Narcissism, I spoke on this topic last year, and I'm bringing this and also the soul ties back up, because it's still a thing, and it's gonna forever be a thing until until we put that to a pause, until we get this to stop, because it's a lot of people that's dealing with these things because they haven't tackled on things that they have grabbed onto from their past, like how can I say it? Basically, they're holding on to stuff, from even being, a kid on up, because most of the traits of a narcissist, it comes from some type of level of parenting. When it comes to narcissism, some traits come from that person having an insensitive parenting, like that person's parent is either always working, is never available when they need them, they're not there for a shoulder to cry on, or just a sense of abandonment. You can have kids out here. I know a lot of people who got kids out here and their kids are never with them. You never know how that kid might feel, because at the end of the day, a kid's gonna definitely need both parents around, and even if they don't have that, they almost starts a sense of a trait of narcissism, because they're already like trained in the mind to look at a situation as complacent, like, oh, my dad's not here, so that's the kind of lifestyle that they think they may need, or my mom's not here, so I feel like the women that come in my life, they may not, I'm not going to hold in a value to them because they're not important to me. So it's a lot of things that, like I said, in the common denominator of these traits that can carry on from generation to generation. So it's like you have to know, but also pay attention to the things that you're dishing out, because especially if you have young children watching it, it can definitely cause emotional havoc that can be bigger than the one that you're dealing with. Also, a sense of narcissism or a trait of narcissism comes from abuse, excessive criticism, or trauma. I know that it's like even remembering things like from previous, like from being younger, I only sometimes remember like the traumatic things that happened, or like the absolute most fun things that happened. Within those traumatic things that happened, that caused me to have a sense of guard. Like I'm always feeling like sometimes I'm always in a ready position or a ready point, because I'm always like on guard or whatever. So I've gotten to the point where that I can relax sometimes, but also be mindful, and goes back to the energy. You have to protect it at all costs. So I now know how not to deal with narcissism, because I've dealt with that in relationships before, and it definitely has drained me completely, like to all this extent. And I've had to realize that with people that has narcissism, they use their manipulative tactics to gain power and control, and plant seeds of uncertainty for the person that is the victim. They're planting those seeds of the person to lose sight of their reality. Narcissists, they're pretty much using that person as their prized possession, to give them everything that they need. It's crazy. And the things that I've dealt with the narcissists that I've dealt with are the few traits, because I'm not gonna say that I didn't learn my lesson like right then and there. I definitely had to go through it a few times, because that first time I never knew, I guess, what to identify it as. And so with that being said, I kept going, and I kept on having to bump my head. But if you have to bump, it's like bumping your head. You're going to have to keep on doing it until you keep on learning your lesson. Like, God's going to definitely keep on putting you in those positions to do so. And so if you're not learning what an energy vampire is, if you're not learning what a narcissist, what a narcissistic person is, you're going to continue to go through that until you let it go. Like, your soul has to be completely free. Your soul has to be like enlightened. Your soul has to be lifted in order for you to continue to focus. And and also, since we're talking about soul, we're going to go ahead and dig into the soul ties. And how you know that you're dealing with a soul tie. Like, you can literally be with someone 10 years ago, and your soul is now connected to someone else, not only because you lay with them and made way, but you've also never left this soul here alone. So like, you have two souls connected. But what if that's happened if you continually give your soul to people. Because a lot of people, I was having this conversation the other day, a lot of people, both women and men, they go into a situation wanting a person to give them 100%. How could we give 100% if we're not 100% ourselves every day? Like, that is the ultimate goal for everyone, to have 100% of themselves every day. Because sometimes people wake up on 98, they wake up on 58, sometimes they wake up on 51. There's no level of certainty. There's no level of 100% that we know that we're gonna tackle onto the day, unless we get to the end of the day and it's done. But that's the end of the day. And so when it comes to you giving a person 100% of yourself, that's literally almost draining, because you're trying to give yourself 100% to make sure that you're where you need to be. So it's like, you have to understand the characteristics of having a soul tie to someone else. And also, if this person is not feeding your soul, if this person is not, watering that flower, that plant, to feeding your soul, that your soul is tied to that person. Your soul is in bondage with that person, and you have to know how to release it. But in order to know how to release it, you have to acknowledge it and know where it's coming from. Within a soul tie, you have an abusive relationship with someone that you still let them stay there. You still let them be around. They've abused you, many of times, mentally, physically, emotionally, and verbally, but you're still there. Also dealing with a relationship that is dead and it's been dead, but you still living on the surface level with that relationship. You're just pretty much, the relationship has been over, but you're still like letting it just go on, thinking that things will change. Baby, because you have changed, but that other person didn't change. But just because your soul is maybe renewed and restored and rejuvenated, doesn't mean that the other person is. Like, and even taking in some of the negative traits from that person that your soul is connected to. Having a soul tie to someone who is negative, or someone who is a narcissist, or someone who is an energy vampire, you yourself can develop those same traits. So it's like, you have to be careful on never saying never, and I won't do this, and I'll never put myself in those situations, especially when you see someone else doing it and you know that is not of or what you would do. That person, they have a particular situation, and they wouldn't do what you would particularly do. However, many people, like I said before, have went through dealing with a soul tie, have went through dealing with narcissism, have dealt with energy vampires. So all in all, you have to make sure that you're protecting your energy and watching those things, because you yourself can become a narcissist. Like, you yourself can become an energy vampire. You yourself can have your soul tied to someone else if you don't release and let go. Like, I've last show I did say, and also the show before that, I did say that this is the year of release. Like, we have to release ourselves from things that no longer serves us purpose. Like, especially when it comes to being renewed and restored. Like, love rehab is all about renewing, all about restoring, all about becoming your best you. And in order to do those things, you have to let go of these things that we're currently talking about. Like, having abuse from a mental standpoint is, I'm not gonna say it's worse, better or worse, but at the same time, having mental abuse is a very stronghold, because you can carry that from a child all the way up until an adult. Like, a child can think that they're no good because of what their parent has taught them, or has instilled in them for so long. Because once you know something for so long, and once you you hear something for so long, like, you're gonna begin to think that those things are true. If someone says, or you fat and you need to lose weight, you're obese because you're this age, you need to do this. Stop letting people put you at a point. Stop letting people like dictate your life. Like, oh, you're here, but you should be there. Like, right now, a lot of people are looking for me to have kids, and don't get me wrong, y'all. I love everybody who's asked me. I love everyone who is waiting for me, but baby, me and the Lord waiting. Because let me tell you something. What I'm not gonna do is I'm not going to have this generation start all the way over with these soul ties and this abuse and this narcissism and this energy vampire. I'm not gonna let that generation start all the way over. I can't, because at the end of the day, all the suffering that I went through with these energy vampires and these narcissists and this abuse and these soul ties, all the things that I've experienced, I feel like I've experienced it enough for generations to come. So that means that I'm getting everything on now. I'm tackling it in the bud, and I'm giving my legacy the opportunity to be who they want to be. You my sister crazy. She's talking about she waiting. I just want her to know that when it baby, she gonna be the babysitter. Her and my mama and my cousins, everybody. I'm gonna have plenty of babysitters when I start having kids, y'all. But not to get off subject, but like I said, all of these things are generational, and all these things have been generational. I don't know if y'all remember that book I was telling y'all about. Hold on right quick. That book I was telling y'all about, the 4 agreements. Like, I'm gonna forever promote this book, all just due to the fact that this book kind of just discloses the things that I've been talking about previously within these past 3 weeks. Like, dealing with those things. Some of these things that I've talked about today are pretty much taught. Like I said, dealing with narcissism, that comes from parenting. So if a person as a parent believes in themselves, then their child will grow up to believe in themselves, because they've seen their parent have goals. They've seen their parent obtain those goals. They've seen those parents in between time to get to those goals. That's a question I'm challenging everyone to know. Where are you as a person? Mentally. Where are you as a person physically? Where are you as a person emotionally and verbally? Where are you as a person right now? And are you at a heavy place? Because if you're not, of course you have to change that. And if you're at a moderate or at a mediocre place, you still have to change that, because at the end of the day, the goal is to become your best self. So you cannot continue to live with these things that no longer serve you any purpose. Dealing with an emotional abuse, that goes back to parenting too. If that parent has to take themselves out of the situation and think about this other person's life. This is a kid that we're talking about. But also, your parent has to not be an energy vampire, because you still have another kid to worry about. And I was reading this little article when I was doing a little research on a few of these topics, but speaking of the narcissism, it was just saying that narcissism, when they have the people who have narcissism as a trait, when they have kids, they do that to the kid. They don't only do that to themselves or to the people that they date, but they also have those traits to kids as well. And that person grows up and become a narcissist, and they get married to someone, and that person grows up and become a narcissist. They gotta stop. We have to have this world become a better place. And like I said, it all goes back down to these kids. At the end of the day, these kids are the future, guys. And so they're seeing everything. They might not physically see it, but they hear it. Not only in their household, but in the household that's from the kids, the stories that they hear at school. Kids talk too. Kids are not dumb, and the crazy part about this, the younger that they are, the smarter that they are. Y'all, these kids born, they from a whole nother millennium generation, understanding level. They are smart. And so we have to make sure that as people, as previous victims of all of these things, that we're holding ourselves accountable to release these things, so that we're able to be our best self and be able to become our fullest self, within making them better people, making ourselves a better person. So like I said, I'm definitely not going to keep you all alone tonight. I just wanted to tap into that. I just wanted to have you all think about a few things. I see a lot of posts on Facebook, and y'all know I'm really not a social media person like that. And I'm not anti-social or anything. It's just I see a lot of these statuses, and I see a lot of people, seeing some of the craziest stuff, and it just it doesn't define them as a person, but it kind of just shows you where their heart is. And I also came up with a quote. I was thinking about that. Sometimes, if not most, the interior and the surface level, they tell two different stories. And a person can sit here and lie to themselves or other people and tell themselves they're okay, or tell themselves they're not dealing with any of these things, or it's physically, emotionally tell themselves that these things are not a factor, but they are. And you're gonna forever be in that same place until you find out how to get out of it. And not saying you, because God is gonna be with you through all of these things. All of these things are fixable. God, everything is possible. So you can pray about it. God, get me out this situation. God, I promise I ain't gonna never do it again. We care about this situation. I ain't gonna, because He know you're gonna do it again. He know that you're gonna put yourself back into that position, because once you've learned a trait and became comfortable to it, that is now your immune system to that very thing. So it's like, you're going to continue to do that, but when are you going to want to level up for yourself? When are you going to want better for yourself? And so God is paying attention to those things, but He's also paying attention to the work that you're doing. Like, you're asking for these things and you're praying for these things, but what are you doing to get yourself out of it? Are you having those moments of solitude where, because remember last week I talked about the benefits of solitude. Sometimes your energy is drained so much because you've literally given so much out, because dealing with these type of people, energy vampires, narcissism, those two will literally drain the living energy out of you. Like, everything you have in you, like, you can literally die from pretty much just giving your all. And who wants to live a life that's not fulfilling, that's not promising? Nobody. Everybody out here want to win, and I want to see everybody out here win. Everybody wants to be great, and I want to see everybody out here be great. Everybody wants us to be successful, and the only way we're gonna be successful is we all, come together and help each other become better people. Love Rehab is definitely about becoming your best self. So I just encourage you all, if you know someone that's going through any one of these things, you just encourage them to stay encouraged, to stay focused, to become their best selves, because at the end of the day, we have to please God, and we cannot continue to please people. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the live tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. Also, if you missed the previews of the other shows, The Benefits of Solitude, and also the relaunch of Love Rehab 2 weeks ago, make sure you go and follow the page Love Rehab with Rose the One. I am Rose, the Love Doctor. I like to call myself. Y'all, I'm going to become the next Oprah one day. Y'all, mark my word. Me and Oprah, we're going to meet. She coming down here in February. She a little bit out of my budget, but I'm going to still see her one day. So, y'all, I'm going to put that in the universe. let the energy in. Let the Lord hear me so we can get that to happen. But on the real tip, I just hope you all have a great week. Hope that y'all let go of these things that are no longer serving you purpose. I hope that you all, just become, your best self. So everybody who's watching, Bino, hey cousin, I love you. Hey mama, hey Shonda, I love everybody, each and every one of y'all on here. Y'all make sure, like I said, to go like, share, and comment, share the page, kind of just get this word out to a lot of more people, because I do this on Love Rehab and on Facebook, but when I go out into the public, I'm talking to people just like I'm talking to y'all every day. So that's what my day consists of for the most part, on my day-to-day basis at work. I'm out here just literally trying to help the people, and for the most part, I'm always transparent about everything I say, no matter if it's my story or someone else's story. I know, like, you have to be transparent, and that's the main way that you're able to get yourselves out of these situations, being transparent and truthful to self, so that you're able to, become your best self, okay? With that being said, like I said, y'all have a great night, great week, great weekend. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Shout out to those Cowboys for that win we took today. And other than that, y'all have a great day. Love and light.